Captain Elena Vasquez stared at the main screen of her ship, the Endeavor. What she saw made no sense. Floating in space before them was the biggest graveyard she had ever seen. Broken ships stretched across 3 entire star systems. Metal twisted and burned, floated everywhere like a frozen ocean of death. "How long has this been here?" she asked her science officer. Dr. Marcus Chen looked up from his scanner. His face was pale. "Captain, the energy readings say this battle happened 50,000 years ago. But that's impossible." Elena walked closer to the screen. The dead ships were huge. Some were the size of small moons. Their designs were strange and alien. She had never seen anything like them in all her years exploring space. "What kind of weapons could do this?" she whispered. Chen shook his head. "I don't know. The damage patterns are unlike anything in our databases. Whatever happened here, it was beyond anything we understand." The Endeavor was a deep space survey ship. Elena and her crew spent their time looking for new planets and studying old ruins. They had found many strange things in their travels, but nothing like this. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Torres from the communications station. "I'm picking up something strange. There's a ship in the middle of all this wreckage. It's giving off quantum readings." Elena frowned. "Quantum readings? What kind of ship uses quantum technology?" "That's just it, Captain. The readings say it's human." The bridge went silent. Elena felt her heart skip a beat. "Human? That's impossible. Humans didn't have ships 50,000 years ago. We were barely learning to make fire." Chen stood up quickly. "Captain, I need to see this myself." He moved to the main scanner and began working. After a few minutes, his hands stopped moving. "Captain, you need to see this." Elena walked over to look at Chen's screen. There, highlighted in blue light, was the outline of a ship. It was massive, 15 kilometers long. Its hull was smooth and powerful looking. Weapons covered every surface. But the most shocking thing was the writing on its side. In clear English letters it read, UES Prometheus. UES stands for United Earthship, Torres said quietly. "But how can that be?" Elena stared at the image. The ship looked more advanced than anything Earth had ever built. Their best battleships were only 3 kilometers long. This thing was 5 times bigger and looked like it could destroy entire fleets. "Chen, run a full scan. I want to know everything about that ship." Chen worked for several minutes, then stopped. "Captain, the scanners can't get a clear reading. The ship seems to be flickering." "Flickering? It's like it's there and not there at the same time. The quantum field around it is doing something to space itself. Every time I try to scan it, the readings change." Elena made a decision. "Torres, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we found something they need to see. Chen, I want you to study that quantum field. Figure out what's keeping that ship locked in place." Over the next 3 hours, the crew of the Endeavor worked to understand what they had found. Chen discovered that the human ship was trapped in something called a temporal stasis field. Time moved differently around it. The ship existed in a bubble where past and present mixed together. "Captain," Chen said, excitement in his voice, "I think I understand what happened. This ship isn't from 50,000 years ago. It's from our future." Elena looked at him. "What do you mean?" "The quantum field is a time lock. Someone sent this ship back through time and froze it here. It's been waiting." "Waiting for what?" Chen shook his head. "I don't know, but Captain, look at this." He showed her readings from the battle site. The other ships, the alien ones, they were all destroyed by weapons that don't exist yet. Energy signatures that are centuries ahead of our technology. Elena studied the data. The alien ships had been cut apart like paper. Whatever weapons the Prometheus carried, they were far beyond anything humans had ever built. "How many alien ships are here?" she asked. Torres answered, from her station. I count over 10,000 wrecks, Captain. They came from all directions, like they were trying to surround something. And they all attacked the Prometheus? It looks that way. But, Captain, here's the strange part. I can only find pieces of one human ship. The Prometheus fought this entire fleet alone. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. One human ship against 10,000 alien vessels, and the human ship had won. A new voice spoke up from the back of the bridge. Captain, Admiral Cross is calling from Earth. She wants to speak with you personally. Elena walked to her ready room and activated the long-range communicator. Admiral Sarah Cross appeared on the screen. She was an older woman with gray hair and serious eyes. Captain Vasquez, I've read your report. Are you certain about what you found? Yes, Admiral. The ship is definitely human, and definitely from our future. The quantum readings are unlike anything we've ever seen. Admiral Cross was quiet for a moment. Captain, what I'm about to tell you is classified. 3 days ago, our deep space monitors detected quantum signatures moving toward Earth. Something big is coming and we don't know what it is. Elena felt her stomach drop. You think it's connected to what we found? I think your discovery might be the key to humanity's survival. Captain, I'm sending a fleet to your location. You're to secure that ship and bring it back to Earth immediately. Admiral, the quantum field around it is unstable. Moving it could be dangerous. Captain, we may not have a choice. Whatever that ship was built to fight, it might be coming. For us. We need to understand its technology before it's too late. The communication ended. Elena sat back in her chair, thinking about what she had learned. A human ship from the future, weapons beyond imagination, and something unknown heading toward Earth. She had the feeling that her simple survey mission had just become the most important discovery in human history. She returned to the bridge where Chen was still studying the quantum readings. Chen, how long would it take to figure out how to move that ship? Chen looked worried. Captain, the quantum field is incredibly complex. If we make a mistake, we could tear a hole in space itself. Or worse, we could break the time lock and cause a paradox. How long? Elena asked again. At least a week to understand the basics, maybe a month to safely move it. Elena looked at the image of the Prometheus on the main screen. The ship seemed to pulse with hidden power, waiting for something. She had the strange feeling that it was waiting for them. We don't have a month, she said quietly. Get me everything you can about that ship. And Chen? Yes, Captain. Whatever built the Prometheus, whatever it was designed to fight, I have a feeling we're about to meet it face to face. As Elena spoke these words, she didn't know how right she was. Deep in space, moving faster than light itself, an alien fleet was heading toward Earth. The same kind of fleet that had attacked the Prometheus 50,000 years ago. The same fleet that had been destroyed by weapons from humanity's future. Time was running out, and the only thing that could save them was locked in a quantum field, waiting for the right moment to awaken. The research station looked like a metal flower floating in space. Admiral Cross had built it in just 1 week, using every resource Earth could spare. The station had one purpose, to study the ship called Prometheus. Dr. Marcus Chen stood in the main laboratory, surrounded by quantum computers and scanning equipment. He had not slept properly in days. The readings from the alien ship made his head hurt, but he could not stop studying them. The quantum field is getting weaker, he told Admiral Cross during their daily meeting. Every hour, more energy leaks out. If this continues, the time lock will fail completely. Admiral Cross looked tired. She had dark circles under her eyes. How long do we have? Maybe 3 days. Maybe less. Captain Elena Vasquez entered the room carrying a datapad. Admiral, we've finished moving the Prometheus to the station. It's locked in place, but Chen is right. The quantum field is breaking down. Chen pointed to his screens. Look at this. Every few hours the ship flickers. For just a moment we can see inside it. And Admiral, there are people in there. Admiral! Cross moved closer to the screen. People? After 50,000 years? The time lock kept them frozen, Chen explained. But as the field weakens, they're starting to wake up. We've detected life signs from over 12,000 crew members. Elena shook her head in amazement. 12,000 people on one ship. Our biggest vessels only carry 300. Suddenly, alarms began to sound throughout the station. Chen ran to his computers. Admiral, we have a problem. The quantum field is collapsing faster than expected. On the main screen, the Prometheus began to flicker like a broken television. One moment it was solid, the next it was transparent. Through the transparent hull, they could see people moving around inside. Can we talk to them? Admiral Cross asked. Chen worked frantically at his controls. I'm trying to establish communication, but the temporal interference is too strong. The ship flickered again, staying solid for almost a full minute. During that time, Chen's scanners picked up something impossible. Admiral, you need to see this. I'm reading weapons signatures from inside the ship. The energy levels are... they're off the charts. How off the charts? Elena asked. Chen's voice was quiet with fear. Each weapon system on that ship produces more energy than our entire fleet combined. Admiral, this isn't just a battleship. It's a weapon of mass destruction. The Prometheus flickered once more, and this time they heard voices coming through the communication system. The voices spoke English, but with accents they had never heard before. Temporal lock is failing. Need to prepare for... The voices faded as the ship became transparent again. Admiral Cross made a decision. Chen, I want you to break the quantum field deliberately. We need to talk to these people before something else goes wrong. Admiral, that could be dangerous. We don't know what will happen when the time lock fails completely. We don't have a choice. Do it. Chen began working on his computers, typing in complex equations. I'll need to overload the quantum generators. This will cause a cascade failure, but it should break the lock safely. As Chen worked, Elena watched the Prometheus through the observation window. The ship was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Its hull was smooth black metal that seemed to absorb light. The weapons were built into the ship's structure so well that they looked like art rather than instruments of war. Ready, Admiral, Chen announced. Once I start this process, there's no stopping it. Do it. Chen pressed a button, and immediately the quantum field around the Prometheus began to change color. Blue energy turned to green, then to red. The ship started flickering faster and faster. Field collapse in 30 seconds, Chen called out. Everyone on the station held their breath. If this went wrong, the temporal paradox could destroy everything within light years. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The quantum field exploded in a burst of white light. When the light faded, the Prometheus hung in space, completely solid for the first time in 50,000 years. Life support is stable, Chen reported. All crew members are alive and conscious. Admiral Cross activated the communication system. Unknown vessel, this is Admiral Sarah Cross of the Earth Defense Force. Please respond. For a moment, there was only silence. Then a man's voice came through the speakers. His accent was strange, like English spoken by someone from another time. Admiral Cross, this is Captain Marcus Wright of the United Earthship Prometheus. We have been waiting a very long time to speak with you. Elena felt a chill. Waiting? How did you know we would be here? Captain Wright's voice carried sadness and determination. Because we came here to save you. All of you. Earth, humanity, everything we are and everything we will become. Admiral Cross leaned forward. Save us from what? From the hegemony. They are coming, Admiral. The greatest war machine the galaxy has ever seen. They have destroyed 1,000 civilizations. In 30 years, they will find Earth. Chen checked his instruments. Captain Wright, our records show this battle happened 50,000 years ago. How is that possible? Wright's voice became grim. Because we are from your future, Dr. Chen. I was born in the year 2847. The hegemony found Earth in 2417. They gave us a choice: become their slaves or die. Humanity chose to fight. Admiral Cross asked the question everyone was thinking. Did we win? There was a long pause before Wright answered. We lost. Earth was destroyed, billions died. But before the end, our scientists built a time machine. They sent me and my crew back to this moment, to this place, to give humanity a second chance. Elena felt her legs go weak. Our entire planet destroyed? Yes. But that future no longer has to happen. The Prometheus carries technology from your future, weapons and defenses that can stop the hegemony. We can teach you to build them. Chen was looking at his scanners again. Captain Wright, I'm reading incredible energy signatures from your ship. What kind of weapons do you have? Wright's voice carried pride and fear. Quantum cannons that can delete matter from existence. Probability shields that make attacks miss by changing reality itself. Temporal mines that send enemy ships into the past. And more, much more. Admiral Cross stood up straighter. Captain Wright, we want to learn. We want to save Earth, but we need proof. We need to see what your ship can do. Admiral, I understand your doubt, but I must warn you, the technology on this ship will change humanity forever. The weapons we carry require genetic modifications to use safely. The crew of the Prometheus is no longer entirely human. Elena asked, What do you mean? We have been enhanced. Our minds work faster. Our bodies are stronger. We can interface directly with the ship's computers. But in becoming more than human, we may have lost something of what makes us human. Chen looked up from his instruments with excitement and terror in his eyes. Admiral, I'm picking up quantum signatures approaching our position, multiple contacts moving faster than anything should be able to move. Wright's voice became urgent. Admiral, how many ships are approaching? Chen checked his readings again. 3 contacts. They're massive. Each one is 30 kilometers long. Hegemony dreadnoughts, Wright said grimly. They found us sooner than expected. Admiral, you have a choice to make right now. Let us defend Earth with technology you don't understand, or watch your world burn. Admiral Cross looked at Elena, then at Chen. The future of humanity hung in the balance. Captain Wright, what do you need from us? Permission to fight, and the courage to become something more than what we are now. On the sensors, the 3 alien ships dropped out of hyperspace. They were black as space itself, covered in weapons that glowed with dangerous energy. Each ship was twice the size of the Prometheus. Wright's voice came through the speakers one more time. Admiral, the war for humanity's survival begins now. Captain Marcus Wright stood on the bridge of the Prometheus, looking at screens that showed impossible things. His crew moved around him with fluid grace, their enhanced minds working faster than normal humans could think. They had been changed by technology from a future that might never happen. Athena, show me the approaching ships, Wright commanded. A woman's voice answered, but it came from everywhere at once. Displaying hegemony dreadnoughts, Captain. 3 vessels of the destroyer. Class, each carries enough firepower to eliminate all life on a planet. On the main screen, the alien ships appeared. They were dark triangles covered in glowing weapons. Energy danced around their hulls like captured lightning. Wright had seen ships like these destroy his home world. Admiral Cross's voice came through, the communication system from the research station. Captain Wright, our defense fleet is moving to intercept. We have 12 battleships heading toward those alien vessels. Wright felt his enhanced heart sink. 12 ships against 3 dreadnoughts was not a battle. It was a massacre waiting to happen. Admiral, recall your ships immediately. Your weapons cannot hurt them. Captain, we have to try. Those ships will reach Earth in 6 hours. Wright turned to his tactical officer, a woman whose eyes glowed with computer interfaces. Lieutenant Hayes, show the Admiral what happened the last time Earth's fleet fought the hegemony. Hayes touched a panel with her mind rather than her hands. The research station's screens filled with images from the future, Earth's ships attacking the black triangles with lasers and missiles. The weapons bounced off the alien hulls like raindrops. Then the dreadnoughts fired back. The Earth. Ships disappeared. Not destroyed, not exploded. They simply stopped existing. Admiral Cross's voice was quiet. "How is that possible?" Wright explained while watching his crew prepare the Prometheus for battle. "The hegemony uses reality manipulation technology. Their weapons don't just destroy matter. They convince the universe that the target never existed." Dr. Chen's voice joined the conversation. "That's impossible. You can't just delete things from reality. Dr. Chen, you still think in terms of normal physics. The hegemony conquered the galaxy because they learned to break those rules. They don't just have advanced technology, they have evolved beyond the laws that govern normal matter." Athena's voice filled the bridge. "Captain, the hegemony ships are transmitting a message to Earth. Let's hear it." A new voice came through the speakers. It sounded like grinding metal mixed with the whisper of wind. The words were in perfect English, but they felt wrong somehow. "Primitive humans of the third planet, you have been chosen for absorption into the hegemony. Surrender your world, and your species will be preserved as workers. Resist, and your existence will be eliminated from all timelines. You have one of your hours to decide." Admiral Cross responded immediately. "This is Admiral Sarah Cross of Earth. We reject your demands. Earth will never surrender." The alien voice seemed amused. "Your weapons cannot harm us. Your ships cannot escape us. Your resistance is mathematically impossible. We have destroyed 1,000 civilizations. You will be 1,001. Wright stepped forward. "This is Captain Marcus Wright of the United Earth ship Prometheus. We have a different offer for you." There was silence for several seconds. Then the alien voice returned, sounding surprised. "Impossible! Our scans show only primitive human technology in this system. Your scans are wrong. Earth is under the protection of weapons from your future. Leave now or face consequences beyond your understanding." The alien voice became angry. "No primitive species possesses technology superior to the hegemony. We will demonstrate the price of defiance." The communication ended. On the tactical display, the three dreadnoughts began moving toward Earth faster than light itself. Wright turned to his crew. "All hands, prepare for quantum combat. Engineering, bring the probability drives online. Weapons, charge the reality cannons." Lieutenant Hayes looked up from her station. "Captain, we only have 3,000 crew members aboard. The ship is designed for 12,000. We're operating at quarter strength." "It will have to be enough. Athena, can you compensate for the missing crew?" "Affirmative, Captain. However, the neural link requirements will be severe. Each crew member will need to interface with 4 times the normal number of systems." Wright nodded. He had expected this. The neural links allowed human minds to control the ship's impossible technology, but they came with a price. "Too much interfacing could burn out a human brain permanently. Do it. All crew members, prepare for deep neural interface." Around the bridge, Wright's officers placed metal bands around their heads. The bands connected directly to their enhanced nervous systems. When they activated, their eyes stopped looking entirely human. Patterns of light moved behind their pupils like living computer code. Wright put on his own neural crown. Immediately, his consciousness expanded. He could feel every part of the Prometheus as if it were his own body. The ship's weapons became extensions of his will. The quantum drives responded to his thoughts. "Athena, merge with my neural pattern. We fight as one." "Merging now, Captain." Wright felt the artificial intelligence join with his mind. Suddenly, he could think faster than any human had ever thought. He could see probability patterns stretching into possible futures. He could feel the quantum structure of space itself. The 3 hegemony dreadnoughts dropped out of hyperspace near Earth. They were even larger than Wright remembered. Each one carried weapons that had destroyed civilizations older than humanity. Admiral cross-watched from the research station as her defense fleet approached the alien ships. She knew Wright was right about her weapons being useless, but she had to try. The first Earth battleship fired its main laser cannon at the lead dreadnought. The beam struck the alien ship and simply disappeared, as if the metal had absorbed the light completely. The dreadnought responded by firing a single shot. The Earth battleship flickered once, then vanished. Not destroyed, erased. On every scanner, every sensor, every record, the ship had never existed. "Dear God," Admiral Cross whispered. Wright's voice came through the communication system, but it sounded different now. Multiple voices speaking as one. "Admiral, evacuate your remaining ships immediately. We are engaging the enemy." The Prometheus moved toward the 3 dreadnoughts. Compared to the alien ships, it looked tiny. The smallest dreadnought was twice as long as the human vessel. Wright felt the ship respond to his enhanced thoughts. The quantum drives activated, and the Prometheus began to exist in multiple dimensions at once. To outside observers, it looked like the ship was becoming transparent. "Target the lead dreadnought," Wright commanded through the neural link. "Fire probability cannon, setting 7. The Prometheus fired a weapon that looked like twisted space itself. The beam struck the first dreadnought, and something impossible happened. The alien ship began to flicker between existing and not existing. The hegemony commander's voice returned, but now it sounded confused. "Impossible. Our reality. Anchors should prevent quantum manipulation." Wright smiled, and through the neural link his crew smiled with him. "Your technology is 1,000 years old. Ours is from your future." The second dreadnought fired at the Prometheus. A beam of pure destruction that should have erased the human ship from existence struck the quantum shields. Instead of being destroyed, the attack was redirected into an alternate timeline where the Prometheus didn't exist. "Lieutenant Hayes, target their quantum generators. Show them what happens when someone from the future comes to play." Hayes fired the ship's main weapons array. 7 different beams of impossible energy struck the second dreadnought simultaneously. The alien ship tried to use its reality manipulation to survive, but the human weapons operated on principles the hegemony had never encountered. The dreadnought simply stopped. Not destroyed, not damaged. It hung in space like a dead thing. All its systems frozen in a temporal loop. The third dreadnought tried to retreat, but Wright was ready for that. "Athena, deploy temporal mines around their escape vector." "Deploying mines, Captain." Invisible weapons appeared in space around the fleeing alien ship. When the dreadnought tried to enter hyperspace, the mines activated. The ship was caught in a time distortion that sent it backward through its own timeline. Wright watched as the alien vessel aged in reverse, becoming newer and newer until it flickered out of existence entirely. The battle was over. 3 hegemony dreadnoughts had been defeated by 1 human ship in less than 10 minutes. Admiral Cross's voice came through the communication system, filled with awe and fear. "Captain Wright, what did you just do?" Wright removed his neural crown, feeling his consciousness return to normal human limits. "We showed the galaxy that humanity has evolved beyond their ability to destroy us." But even as he spoke, Wright knew this was only the beginning. The hegemony had 10,000 dreadnoughts. And now they knew that Earth possessed weapons from the future. The real war was about to begin. News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. In the capital of the hegemony, 10,000 light-years from Earth, something impossible was happening. For the first time in 100,000 years, the rulers of the galaxy were afraid. The hegemony High Command met in a chamber that existed outside normal space. 12 beings that had once been organic, but were now more machine than flesh, gathered around a table made of crystallized time. 3 dreadnoughts, spoke the first being. its voice like the sound of dying stars. Defeated by a single primitive vessel. Not primitive, corrected another. The quantum signatures match theoretical weapons from our projected future development. Somehow, these humans possess technology we have not yet invented. The Supreme Commander, a being so old it remembered the first galaxy the hegemony had conquered, activated a holographic display. The battle near Earth played out in perfect detail. Observe. The human vessel uses probability manipulation, temporal displacement, and reality restructuring. These are technologies that should not exist for another 1,000 years. How is this possible? Asked a third member of the High Command. Time travel, the Supreme Commander answered. The humans have sent weapons back from their future. This explains the quantum signatures we detected in the ancient battlefield near their system. The chamber filled with the sound of mechanical breathing and electronic thought processes. The High Command had conquered the galaxy through superior technology and overwhelming force. They had never encountered a species that could match their weapons. What are our options? Asked the first being. The Supreme Commander manipulated the holographic display, showing the location of Earth relative to the rest of hegemony space. We have 3 choices. First, we could ignore this system and allow humanity to develop their timeline naturally. Unacceptable. Several members of the High Command spoke at once. No species may possess technology superior to our own. Second, we could negotiate. Offer them a place in the hegemony as equals rather than slaves. Again, rejection from the assembled beings. The hegemony does not negotiate. We conquer or we destroy. Third, the Supreme Commander continued, we could deploy the First Fleet. 1,000 dreadnoughts with reality anchors and temporal stabilizers. Even future technology cannot stand against such overwhelming force. The chamber fell silent. The First Fleet had not been deployed in 50,000 years. It was the hegemony's ultimate weapon, capable of destroying entire star clusters. The cost would be enormous, one being pointed out. Moving the First Fleet would leave our core, worlds undefended. The risk of allowing these humans to develop further is greater, the Supreme Commander replied. If they possess weapons from their future, they may also possess the ability to change their past. They could create a timeline where the hegemony never existed. On Earth, Captain Wright stood in a meeting room filled with leaders from every nation. The revelation that aliens existed and wanted to destroy humanity had changed everything. Political differences that had seemed important a week ago now meant nothing. Admiral Cross presented the situation to the assembled leaders. Captain Wright's ship proved that we can fight the hegemony. But this was only 3 ships. Intelligence suggests they have thousands more. The President of the Americas leaned forward. Captain Wright, how many ships like the Prometheus would... We need to defend Earth? Wright's enhanced mind calculated probabilities and outcomes faster than any computer. In my timeline, it took 50 Prometheus-class vessels to hold off the hegemony for 1 year. But that was a defensive war. To win permanently, we would need to strike at their core worlds. The Chancellor of Europa asked the question everyone was thinking. How long would it take to build such a fleet? Dr. Chen answered from his position at the science table. The technology is incredibly complex. Each ship requires quantum processors that we don't know how to manufacture. The weapons systems use materials that don't exist in normal space. We're looking at decades of development, minimum. Wright shook his head. We don't have decades. My ship's computers have been monitoring hegemony communications. They're mobilizing their First Fleet. 1,000 dreadnoughts, each more powerful than the 3 we just destroyed. Silence filled the room. The leaders of Earth realized they were facing an enemy that could deploy 1,000 ships, each capable of destroying planets. The Prime Minister of the Asian Federation spoke carefully. Captain Wright, you mentioned that your crew has been genetically modified to use this technology. Could we modify more humans? Wright's expression became grim. The modifications are dangerous. Out of every 100 volunteers, only 12 survive the process, and those who survive, they're no longer entirely human. Admiral Cross stood up. Captain, what exactly do you mean by no longer entirely human? Wright activated a holographic display showing brain scans. The neural interfaces required to control quantum weapons change how the mind works. Enhanced humans think faster, but they also think differently. Emotions become muted. Personal relationships become difficult. The crew of the Prometheus chose to sacrifice their humanity to save their species. Dr. Chen studied the brain scans with fascination and horror. The neural pathways are completely restructured. These people are essentially a new form of human life. Could we build automated ships instead? Asked the President of the Americas. Remove humans from the equation entirely? Wright shook his head. Quantum weapons require consciousness to function properly. Artificial intelligence alone isn't enough. The weapons need the creative unpredictability of human thought combined with enhanced processing power. The Chancellor of Europa asked, how many volunteers would we need? For one ship, 12,000 crew members. That means we would need 100,000 volunteers to have enough survivors for a single vessel. The room erupted in discussion. Asking 100,000 people to risk their lives with only a 12% survival rate seemed impossible. Admiral Cross raised her hand for silence. We're talking about the survival of our entire species. If the choice is between sacrificing 100,000 volunteers or losing 8 billion people, the mathematics are clear. Wright's enhanced hearing picked up communications from space. His expression changed to one of urgency. Ladies and gentlemen, this discussion may be academic. Athena is detecting quantum signatures throughout the solar system. The hegemony is deploying long-range sensors. Dr. Chen checked his instruments. Captain, I'm reading massive energy buildups near Jupiter. Something big is coming. Wright closed his eyes and interfaced directly with the Prometheus's sensors through his neural implants. What he saw made his enhanced heart race. They're opening. A hyperspace gateway. Based on the energy signature, it's large enough for their entire first fleet. The leaders in the room looked at each other with growing panic. Admiral Cross asked the question they all feared to voice. How long do we have? Wright's consciousness touched the quantum sensors of his ship, feeling the fabric of space bend and twist as the aliens prepared their assault. 72 hours. Maybe less. The President of the Americas stood up quickly. That's not enough time to build more ships or train more crews. Wright nodded grimly. One ship against 1,000. The same odds that destroyed my Earth in the original timeline. But you have future technology, the Chancellor pointed out. Surely that gives us an advantage. The First Fleet carries reality anchors specifically designed to neutralize quantum weapons. The hegemony learned from our battle tactics in my timeline. They've prepared countermeasures. Dr. Chen looked up from his calculations. Captain, what about the temporal mines you used in the battle? Could those stop an entire fleet? Wright interfaced with Athena to run combat simulations. The results were not encouraging. The mines work on individual targets. Against a coordinated fleet assault, they would be overwhelmed. We might destroy 50 ships before they adapt. Admiral Cross made a decision. Then we need volunteers for the genetic modification process. Even if only a fraction survive, we need more enhanced humans to crew the Prometheus. Wright looked at the assembled leaders with his modified eyes. Admiral, the enhancement process takes 72 hours minimum. We don't have time to create new crew members. Then what do you suggest? Wright was quiet for a long moment, running calculations that hurt to contemplate. We have one option. We evacuate as many people as possible from Earth and make our stand here. One ship against 1,000, buying time for humanity to escape. The room fell silent. The leaders of Earth realized they were looking at the end of their world. Outside, in the cold of space, reality began to tear as the hegemony prepared to bring an entire fleet through hyperspace. The final battle for humanity's survival was about to begin. The hyperspace gateway opened like a wound in reality itself. Space twisted and bent as something impossible pushed through from another dimension. Captain Wright watched from the bridge of the Prometheus as 1,000 hegemony dreadnoughts emerged from the tear in space-time. Each ship was 30 kilometers of black metal and contained weapons. They arranged themselves in a perfect sphere around Earth, blocking every escape route. The smallest of these vessels carried enough firepower to destroy continents. "Athena, analysis," Wright commanded through his neural interface. "The artificial," Intelligence's voice filled his mind. "Captain, each dreadnought is equipped with reality anchors and temporal stabilizers. They have learned from our previous encounter. Our quantum weapons will be significantly less effective." Wright felt the weight of 8 billion lives pressing down on his enhanced consciousness. In his original timeline, this was the moment when Earth died. The moment when humanity's future was erased from existence. Admiral Cross's voice came through. The communication system from the evacuation station orbiting Mars. "Captain, we've managed to evacuate 12 million people to the outer colonies. But there wasn't enough time to save everyone." Wright understood. Most of humanity was still on Earth, waiting to see if one ship could save them from an enemy that had conquered the galaxy. The Supreme Commander of the Hegemony spoke across all frequencies, its voice reaching every communication device in the solar system. "Humans of Earth, you have witnessed the futility of resistance. Your single advanced vessel cannot stand against the might of 1,000 dreadnoughts. Surrender now, and your species will be preserved." Wright opened a channel that broadcast to Earth and the entire Hegemony fleet. "This is Captain Marcus, Wright of the United Earth ship Prometheus. We have a different proposal." "Speak, primitive." Wright's enhanced mind interfaced with Athena, drawing on computational power that exceeded most planetary computer networks. "You have ruled the galaxy for 100,000 years. You have conquered 1,000 civilizations, but you have never faced weapons from your own future. Your future technology failed to save your world in your original timeline." Wright smiled, and through the neural link, his crew smiled with him. "That's because in my original timeline, we only had one ship. But Supreme Commander, you've made a crucial mistake." There was silence from the Hegemony fleet. Wright could feel their sensors trying to penetrate the Prometheus's quantum shielding, searching for weaknesses. "What mistake?" the Supreme Commander finally asked. "You assumed that the Prometheus was the only ship we sent back through time." Wright activated a command that he had been holding in reserve for 50,000 years. Across the solar system, quantum signatures began to activate. Space twisted as temporal stasis fields that had been hidden for millennia suddenly failed. Near Jupiter, a second Prometheus materialized. Near Saturn, a third. Near Uranus, a fourth. In total, 12 identical ships phased into normal space, each one carrying weapons from humanity's future. The Supreme Commander's voice carried confusion and the first hint of fear. "Impossible. Our scans detected only one vessel." Wright's voice carried the satisfaction of a plan 50,000 years in the making. "The Prometheus you've been watching was never alone. We've had 11 backup ships hidden in quantum fields throughout the solar system, each one crewed by volunteers who chose to sacrifice their humanity to save their species." Captain Elena Vasquez's voice came through the communication system from the second Prometheus. "This is Captain Vasquez of UES Defiance, all ships reporting ready for combat." Wright felt his consciousness expand as all 12 ships linked there. Neural networks together. Suddenly, he wasn't just commanding one vessel, he was part of a fleet where human minds enhanced by future technology worked as a single entity. "All ships activate collective consciousness protocol. We fight as one." Across the 12 ships, 10,000 enhanced humans merged their thoughts into a single tactical intelligence. They could think faster than any computer, react quicker than any artificial intelligence, and most importantly, they could be unpredictable. in ways that the hegemony's logical minds couldn't anticipate. The hegemony fleet moved first. 1,000 dreadnoughts fired simultaneously, their reality manipulation weapons creating beams of pure destruction that should have erased the human ships from existence. But the 12 Prometheus vessels didn't try to block the attacks. Instead, they used probability manipulation to convince the universe that the weapons had missed. Space itself bent around the human ships, redirecting the destruction into alternate timelines. Wright spoke with the voice of 10,000 enhanced humans. Supreme Commander, you conquered the galaxy using superior technology and overwhelming numbers. But you never learned to evolve. You never learned to change. The human fleet fired back, 12 ships unleashing weapons that operated outside the normal laws of physics. Quantum cannons deleted hegemony dreadnoughts from existence. Temporal mines sent enemy vessels into time loops. Probability disruptors convinced space that enemy ships had never been built. Within the first minute of combat, 50 hegemony vessels simply stopped existing. The Supreme Commander's voice carried panic for the first time in 100,000 years. All ships deploy reality anchors, stabilize local space-time. The remaining hegemony dreadnoughts activated defensive systems that had never failed before. They created fields that locked space into a rigid structure, preventing quantum manipulation. Wright felt the change immediately. Quantum weapons effectiveness reduced by 60%, switching to kinetic bombardment. The human ships fired projectiles that traveled faster than light while somehow still having mass. The rounds punched through hegemony shields like paper, causing conventional explosions that destroyed ships in showers of metal and energy. But the aliens adapted quickly. They began firing in coordinated patterns, using their overwhelming numbers to trap the human ships in crossfire. Athena's voice reached Wright through the neural link. Captain, we're losing ships. UES determination has been destroyed. UES vigilance is critically damaged. Wright felt the death of 2,000 enhanced humans as their consciousness was suddenly severed from the collective link. Each loss diminished the fleet's ability to think and react as a unified entity. All remaining ships implement final protocol. Dr. Chen's voice came through the communication system from the research station. Captain, what's the final protocol? Wright answered while his consciousness directed weapons that rewrote the laws of physics in real time. Dr. Chen, some discoveries are too dangerous for any one species to possess alone. The final protocol ensures that these weapons can never be used for conquest. The 9 remaining human ships began to glow with an inner light. Their quantum cores, normally stable, started to oscillate in specific patterns. The Supreme Commander realized what was happening. They're destabilizing their quantum reactors. All ships retreat immediately. Wright spoke with the combined voice of the enhanced humans who had chosen to sacrifice everything for their species. Supreme Commander, you wanted our technology. This is how it ends, not with conquest, but with the choice to ensure that ultimate power never corrupts absolutely. The 9 ships formed a sphere around Earth. Their quantum cores reached critical resonance. When they detonated, the explosion wouldn't just destroy the hegemony fleet, it would create a quantum wave that would spread across the galaxy, disabling every reality manipulation device the aliens possessed. Citizens of Earth, Wright broadcast on all frequencies. We came from your future to save your past. The hegemony will survive, but they will no longer possess the power to destroy civilizations. The galaxy will be free to evolve naturally. Elena Vasquez's voice came through the link one last time. Captain Wright, it's been an honor serving with you. The honor was mine. Captain, all ships for humanity. For humanity. 10,000. Enhanced voices replied. The quantum cores reached critical mass. For a brief moment, the 9 human ships became brighter than stars. Then they exploded in a cascade of directed energy that washed over the hegemony fleet like a wave of liquid light. The alien dreadnoughts didn't explode. Instead, their reality manipulation systems simply stopped working. Their weapons became conventional matter. Their shields became normal energy fields. Their engines became standard propulsion systems. Suddenly, 1,000 alien ships found themselves facing Earth's conventional defense fleet on equal terms. Admiral Cross's voice came through space from the command station. All Earth Defense Force vessels engage the enemy. The battle that followed was fierce but conventional. Lasers against plasma cannons, missiles against energy shields, human determination against alien arrogance. Without their reality manipulation, technology, the hegemony discovered that they had forgotten how to fight fair battles. They had relied on overwhelming technological superiority for so long that they had lost the ability to adapt tactically. Within 6 hours, the surviving alien ships were in full retreat. The Supreme Commander's final transmission carried shock, and something that might have been respect. Humans of Earth, we underestimated your species. You possessed ultimate power and chose to destroy it rather than use it for conquest. This is unprecedented.